Hey guys, and welcome to my new movie spotlight review video. I know I haven't done one of these in quite a while, but I actually felt really compelled to make a quick video on a movie that I just recently watched anyway. So I'm going to be deciding whether or not I'm going to be doing a lot of these review videos a little bit more often. It really depends on what you guys think, the feedback I get from you, my viewers. It's also going to depend on whether I have time to do one of these videos more often and whether I come across videos that I feel like I need to say a little bit more in-depth details or thoughts about it anyway. So as always guys, give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say about it. Give me comments, give me feedback, and subscribe to my channel, right guys? So I recently just finished watching Disney's Frozen on Blu-ray DVD combo pack, and I have to say that I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought it was fun, it was great, it was witty, and I kind of felt like it touched upon a particular subject matter that, as far as I know, no other Disney film had ever touched upon before, at least not in the manner that Frozen does. And I found that to be like one of the most appealing aspects about this movie that really made me enjoy it a whole lot more. I mean, I really caught on to it really quickly. It wasn't, it was subtle, I guess, maybe to some people that they might have missed it, but it's something that I caught on to very, very quickly, and I really enjoy that part about this movie a lot. So the premise of the movie revolves around these two sisters, Elsa and Anna. And Elsa happens to have these magical powers that kind of allows her to create or manipulate ice. And her sister, Anna, is actually very normal, your typical type of naive, maybe even a little carefree type of character within the film. And the story kind of opens up very early when the two sisters are very young and they're actually out playing with Elsa's magical powers, and through an accident, Elsa kind of injures her sister with her magic powers. Their parents, the king and queen, try to, they acknowledge the fact that Elsa has these powers, but yet they still, they acknowledge that she has these powers and they still try to protect her. I mean, they don't try to outcast her or anything like that because she is, their daughter. So they look for ways to try to protect her and her sister. So on this occasion, what happens is that after the accident happens, they take, Anna over to these group of magical, trolls, and they kind of help Anna to recover from the accident. And in the process, they end up erasing her memories of Elsa ever having supernatural powers. But the reason they do it is because they want to protect her as well. But they advise the family that as Elsa gets older, her powers are going to continue to grow, up to a point that, if she doesn't find a way to control her powers, she could end up really endangering everyone. So the film opening up this way pretty much just sets the stage for the conflict that the two sisters are eventually going to have to deal with later on. And you can say that that conflict, is further, magnified upon, we learn that, the parents, the king and queen, are eventually killed somewhere throughout the early part of the movie. And that pretty much leads the two sisters to kind of still live together, but somewhat still apart from each other because of the consequences, and how they're trying to protect, especially Elsa trying to protect her younger sister. As the sisters get older, of course, Elsa then, being the eldest sister of the two, she becomes the next eligible person to become the queen of the kingdom. And on the night of her coronation, what happens is that through some unforeseen circumstances or uncontrollable circumstances, she kind of accidentally lets her powers loose, and because it's the first time that the public is seeing her powers, she's exposed, and the people start treating her differently because of it. That she is kind of scared that she might end up hurting people, so she ends up kind of like leaving the kingdom. Well, it's not that she doesn't leave on her own. I mean, she's forced to leave because everyone pretty much rejects her and they think of her as a monster, things like that, because of her special abilities. So she leaves the kingdom, and pretty much decides that from that point on, she's just going to pretty much live her life and just not hide from anyone anymore, to just be exactly who she wants to be. And that's one of the things that I actually really did appreciate about the film. So the rest of the film pretty much revolves around Anna trying to go find her sister and figure out the reasons why Elsa was always so distant from her throughout the beginning of the film. And along the way, she ends up meeting a lot of other supporting characters that kind of help her on her journey. And the primary ones that we're introduced to are the characters of Kristoff, his reindeer friend Sven, and the snowman Olaf. And we kind of meet these characters earlier on in the film, but they don't actually become primary characters until Anna meets them on her journey over, the snow mountain to go find her sister Elsa. Now, while the characters of Kristoff and Sven are actually unique, I have to say that, the character that actually stole the entire show for me was actually the snowman Olaf. because he was so funny. I mean, I really don't know how to describe him. I mean, he's a snowman that really actually wants to experience summertime. Like he wants to experience the heat of summertime, which is completely beside me. I mean, because he's completely oblivious as to what happens to a snowman or snow in general when it's out in heat. And the one thing that I can only say about Olaf's character in the film is that there's one musical sequence in the entire movie that actually made me laugh so hard, and it's the one that involves Olaf. It's the only musical score in the film that involves Olaf because he sings it. And basically, it's his explanation for why he wants to experience summer. But all the things that he says, the lyrics that make up the song are are some of the funniest things that he says for why he wants to experience it, and it's just hilarious. I mean, I can't remember any specifics from the song, but for those of you that have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just so hilarious. That's why I feel like Olaf is the character that kind of stole the show for the entire film. And that kind of reminds me of another thing that I had to get used to a little bit with Disney films, was the fact that the traditional Disney films were always musicals. There were a lot of musical scores involved in it. So this one was no less. I got so used to watching a lot of Pixar movies that you don't see musical scores in them as much or at all. So watching this movie, again, kind of reminded me that yeah, these are filled with musicals. But I have to say, on that note, I mean, it's not like it was a negative thing, because all the musical scores that were part of Frozen were actually really good. I really did enjoy them a lot. I mean, all the characters had a musical sequence that basically, showed their character development, showed their emotions, and their freedom of expression for what they wanted to do, what they wanted to be, which was really great. And I have to say that the one song that I really did enjoy the most was actually Elsa's song. I mean, I can't remember the name of the song right now. I mean, but I'm sure it'll hit me at some point. But, I really, really did enjoy that song a lot from her. Speaking of Elsa's song, I mean, this is a great opportunity to talk about some of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie so much. And, it has to do primarily with Elsa's song. As I was hearing her singing, I was hearing the lyrics. But it kind of really showed this theme of independence, of wanting freedom, especially for Elsa being a female character and being one of the lead characters in a Disney film. So I really appreciate that Disney was kind of using this particular type of theme and subject to kind of promote this type of independence. And the character of Elsa really shows this a lot throughout the entire film, especially during that sequence, because once she leaves, like I said before, she really begins to express her inner thoughts and feelings about not wanting to hide or keep her her powers secret anymore from anyone. She wants to be able to fully use them and just kind of be able to embody the character and the person that she wants to be. And I really appreciate that a lot from the film. What's interesting about that is that it's not really anything new, because Disney, in particular Pixar, has kind of dealt with the subject of female lead characters wanting to pursue something on their own, especially with another previous Pixar film that I really enjoyed so much, which was Brave, and the character of Merida pretty much also shows those same type of qualities of not wanting to adhere to the patriarchy that pretty much governs the entire kingdom. So she wants to break free of that mold, and pursue something else, something greater, that she wants to discover for herself. And ultimately, that's what happens here also in Frozen, is that even, the storyline that captivated me the most was actually the storyline of Elsa. But, the two characters, Elsa and Anna, are both kind of like trying to explore who they are. And in the course of doing that, they want to be able to pursue whatever those things are freely without having any opposition, especially from, the patriarchy that's present in the film. That's part of the narrative backstory of the film, especially of the kingdoms. So I actually really appreciate it that Disney actually decided to pursue this story that way, and give us these characters that are very unique and very lovable too. Another thing that was actually pretty interesting is the fact that, and is unique to this movie as well, is the fact that this pursuit of independence and wanting to help others, usually in a Disney film that kind of revolves around a love interest that always builds between, the lead male and lead female characters within a Disney film. And that's also still here. It's also present in Frozen when Anna meets, Kristoff's character. But that really isn't even the primary kind of like love angle, or caring, nourishing angle that exists in this movie. The real core one is actually the relationship between the characters of Anna and Elsa, and it's because, Elsa leaves and Anna, goes after her, trying to convince her. It's because, Elsa's leaving because she doesn't want to hurt her sister, and Anna's pursuing her because she cares about her and wants to bring her back. So you have these very interesting dual conflicts in here that are happening between these two characters, and it further kind of just reinforces this idea of family togetherness, family bonds, sibling bonds. especially, and the love that's needed in order for sibling bonds to become strong and to nourish themselves. So I really did like that aspect of Frozen a lot, and how the writing really, displayed that type of, of emotion and compassion from these two characters. So while I'm talking about this particular subject, now I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of talk about something that, caught my eye a couple of weeks ago that I was reading. I came across this article on the internet one time that was about this Christian pastor who went on a radio broadcast show and basically said that, children should stay away from watching this film Frozen because it promotes or it encourages homosexuality. And I don't even understand why someone would end up saying that, unless they have a particular agenda, which isn't maybe necessarily against the film itself, but maybe just the industry that's that's promoting this film, and pushing it out there for audiences to see, which I'm sure is basically what the case is anyway. But what really caught my eye about that particular article was that, again, the commentary, and it made me curious about wanting to see this movie. And at the time that I read it, I hadn't seen that movie at all. So, now that I've seen it, I can kind of understand a little bit, where this guy was coming from with the comments that he was making. But, it's still, I still believe that, his comments were just grossly, misinterpreted the entire idea and theme that was happening in this movie. I mean, it doesn't really touch upon any of that stuff. Whoever said these comments pretty much just misinterpreted, or misconstrued the entire premise of, two sisters basically, rebonding with each other, and again, because they care so much for each other that they're willing to, ostracize themselves, and the other, is willing to put themselves at risk to go help the other out. And again, like I mentioned before, that's usually something that you always see in the romance angles that Disney films have between the male and female characters. Is just that only this time right here is exhibited between two female characters that happen to be sisters, and there's a reason for that. There's no other commentary, there's nothing else going on in there, that heavily suggests that that's basically what it's trying to do. And the reason why I tend to disagree with that comment that this person made is because I highly doubt that children going to see a Disney movie, especially Frozen, are going in there, and after they watch it, that they're thinking, "Oh, how is this going to change my sexuality?" I don't think so. I think children, when they go in there, and parents, when they take children to go see movies, they're going in there because they want children to be entertained, to watch something that's going to be funny, that might have a hidden message in it. And if there is a hidden message that I think children are going to get from this film, or should be taught about this film, is that, if anything, this movie actually promotes and encourages freedom of expression for me. That everyone, be male or female, little boy or little girl, should be able to express, their true emotions, and express their true feelings about what they want to be and what they want to do in their lives. And I think that's probably one of the major core messages that the film Frozen has, actually, especially having a female character, two female characters in the lead for this film, is empowerment to choose what you want to do and be who you want to be. And not let anything else kind of stop you from doing that. So, I mean, I didn't want to turn this entire review into a discussion about that, but it's just something that, I read before, and it was kind of ticking in my mind, and now that I saw the film, I wanted to make, a brief comment on that anyway. And that's pretty much this reviewer's opinion on that particular subject matter. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed my quick review and thoughts on the Disney film Frozen. It's a great picture. I definitely recommend it, for you guys to watch it. I definitely recommend that you add it to your, movie collection, or perhaps your Disney collection if you guys are fans of Disney films. So definitely it's worth an add, into that collection. As always, send me comments, guys. Give this movie a thumbs up. And subscribe to my channel. Tell me what you think. Give me recommendations or suggestions of other things that I, would like to watch as well, guys. All right. So as always, stay safe. Keep watching films, whether they're, live action or animated. And I'll catch you next time. All right, guys.